Welcome to a new edition of the Golf Report. I'm Monica Bradshaw, and I'm here with Paul Evenden to talk about water. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Monica. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Thanks.
So the course is showing a bit of strain from the lack of water. Tell me, how do you see the impact on the course from the lack of water we've had this summer, and what are you hearing for the next several weeks?
Yeah, it's been a really stressful year, Monica, no doubt. They're now saying this is going to be our most stressful year for heat and drought. Last year being the record, this year being the new record. We do have some severe issues going on with water. Out on the golf course, we have turned off a lot of areas just because we do not have enough ability to pump water to certain areas. So we cannot keep everything green. So we're now making decisions as to what's going to brown off and go dormant.
Okay. And I understand that there's some restraints or some restrictions on the water usage. Explain that for the club.
Yeah, that's correct. Basically, anybody who pumps more than 50,000 liters of water in a 24-hour period must obtain a permit to take water, which we do have. That basically limits us to the amount of water that we can actually pump in that time. It's not a matter of supply so much as we're only allowed to use so much along with everybody else in the Grand River watershed. Right now we're at a level 2 water advisory. We have been at level 1 since the end of April, which is unprecedented. It was such a dry winter as well. Brantford has gone to a level 2, that was 2 weeks ago, which is a further reduction of 20% from what we're allowed to pump.
Wow. And I guess a possible solution would be to drill a well. I've heard about that, and your thoughts on that, and time and cost.
Yeah, a well is something that is obviously might be able to help us. We haven't done a whole lot of investigating with that. The purpose of the well would be to improve or give us more access to water. But right now, we're still limited by the amount that we can pump through our permit. We do have some concerns. There might be a housing development going in beside the golf course, which might interrupt some of our supply. So again, once that happens or doesn't happen, we have to determine whether a well would be sufficient to supply us with the water that we need. Currently, what we are doing is we're going to reapply with our water permit to get more water for the next permit and a faster instantaneous amount to pump.
Okay. So knowing the limitations, do you think that in Ontario and other jurisdictions there are some maybe unrealistic expectations on the golfers' parts?
Yeah, absolutely. The vision of everything being pristine and green is definitely not going to happen in a stressful year like this.
An illusion.
An illusion, absolutely, yeah. Superintendents are definitely limited by a lot of things, and again, Mother Nature is the biggest one. In a great year when it rains regularly, it makes irrigation very easy. But now it's a chore. So yeah, there are some unrealistic expectations out there, but I think people are very understanding. They look at their home lawns, they look at neighborhood lawns, and they realize that it's not just the golf course, it's the entire province is suffering.
Right. So well or no well, or what do you think is the best course of action for the club in keeping the greens looking good?
Again, right now we're going to look at reapplying for a different permit for greater amount that we can take per night, as well as a greater instantaneous amount that will allow us to get the water down faster so there won't be sprinklers running later into the morning. So I think if we can cross that bridge and get that taken care of, then the concept of a well might come into that at this point. But right now we just don't have the permission to pump as much as we can.
And I know you mentioned this, the potential future development across Hardy Road, and what would happen to our water supply then, on a final note, if that did happen?
Again, that's not really my big area of expertise, but from what I understand is they still must maintain the wetland, the amount of water that it contains and whatnot. So theoretically it wouldn't do any change to us, but that being said, once housing goes in, I think all cards sort of come off the table. Again, I'm not the expert on that. I would have to ask some more questions, but yeah, I think it's something that we have to keep on the radar.
Great, thanks, Paul. Very informative.
Great, thanks, Monica.
This is Monica Bradshaw giving you the Golf Report.